Do 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 do. Edition. I'm your host, Mr. Toad, and we have
Dr. Frog.
There we go. So we just came back from
Kanno's California Sushi Bar.
Dude, the Kanno's was amazing. As we're talking about it, we're going to show up some images of the food that we ate. I had never been there, so this was my first time. Thank you, Dr. Frog, for taking me.
It was the best sushi you've ever eaten, and I think the same for me as well. I think it's probably the best sushi in mainland USA.
I feel like it was a fusion in my mouth. I feel like the different flavors, the soy sauce, the...
we had everything, too.
Yeah.
From Kobe beef to different types of...
salmon.
Salmon, smoked salmon, tuna, albacore, I think.
Cream cheese we had in there, too.
Well, the
avocado
cream cheese is what would have been with the filet mignon roll.
Yeah.
We did have some... Kobe beef, though, great 5A.
Oh my gosh, the Kobe beef was so good, so juicy.
Oh my gosh, it just melted.
I often think about when I think of Kobe beef, I think of this like guy who's like, when someone asks him like, oh, so what do you do for a living? And you're like, oh, I massage cows and I give them beer. I mean, theoretically, I think in many respects, if you traveled to Japan and you went to the city of Kobe, you probably would run into a few people like that.
Yeah. Really?
I would imagine so.
So I didn't know that that's where the name derived from.
I think it's coming from the village. There's a place called Kobe.
Really?
Let's pull that up. Actually, I'm just curious.
Either way, this Kanno's in Metairie, Louisiana, which is just outside New Orleans, or it's part of the greater New Orleans area. It's wonderful, and the menu changes, and when they run out, they just serve what they have until they run out. And it's just a very authentic, wonderful, relaxing environment and experience. And they also give some complimentary ice cream at the end that I appreciated.
Oh, wow. We got to show that in.
It was the complete dinner, definitely.
It's such the different sauces. I remember each dish had their own little sauce in the plate.
They did, and I'm sure it was intentional. I think we had an energy roll. If you go to the menu, they might have descriptions of each. But let's read a little bit about the history of Kobe beef.
Yeah, so the history of Kobe beef is cattle were brought to Japan from China in about the 2nd century AD in the Yao. How would you pronounce that?
How do you spell it?
Uauoyayoi.
Yayoi.
Period. Until about the time of the Meiji Restoration.
Yeah, the Meiji Restoration.
1868.
1868, yeah.
1868. And they were only used as a drought animal in agriculture and forest mining, and for transport as a source of fertilizer. Milk consumption was unknown, and for culture and religious reasons, meat was not eaten. So Japan was effectively isolated from the rest of the world from 1635 until 1854.
Wow.
What do you think about that, Dr. Frog?
Well, I think
isolation.
It's fascinating. I'm fascinated by Japan, and not just because it has similar weather to New Orleans. We're both sort of tropical weather areas. But there's sort of a mysteriousness about an island and a secluded culture like that. I think it's something that's unique, and I can relate to it as a New Orleanian because we sort of celebrate our own unique culture in New Orleans and have its own uniqueness too.
One of the things I'd also say that we have some similarity with Japan is we still have streetcars. We have a transit system, and in Japan they have high-speed rail.
Yeah, I would say that
we're slow-speed.
Our public transportation is probably a bit later. We're called the Big Easy for a reason.
Yeah.
But either way, the Kobe beef was delicious.
There we go.
And you and I, if we traveled to Japan together, I bet we could have a lot of its own sort of series. And instead of the New Orleans edition, we could have the Japan edition.
It'll be the red beans.
The red beans
Japanese version. Yes. As back to the Kobe beef history, beef consumption remained low until after World War II. Kobe beef grew in popularity and extended its global reach in the 1980s and 1990s.
So it's really modern.
Yeah, and in 1983, the Kobe Beef Marketing and Distribution Promotion Association was formed to define and promote the Kobe trademark. It sets a standard for animals to be labeled as Kobe beef.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, it isn't just any sort of... This isn't your normal CAFO, concentrated animal farming operation.
No, this is a very specialized...
In terms of how it was raised.
Exactly. Just back to what I was saying. I mean, could you imagine being the guy that feeds the beer to the cow? Because even the way they kill the Kobe... Yeah, feed the beer to the cow. But I like this idea that they would kill the cow and the cow wouldn't even know he died.
Yeah, I don't know how to...
I don't know how they do it.
Was it the sort of a cattle prod?
Yeah.
Or no, not the prod, but the... well, so I was thinking for No Country for Old Men.
Oh, the air gun thing. Yeah, the air thing.
It's supposed to be...
That's how they
direct
euthanize
into
them.
the brain that they don't feel it, but... That's where it was popularized, at least in the novel that changed into. Is the Cormac McCarthy, who did The Road, as well as several other.
Man, what a rough movie, The Road.
Yeah, I actually never seen The Road, but I played The Last of Us, which was heavily inspired by The Road.
Those cordyceps mushrooms, man, they get really
of
angry.
course. I didn't know you were familiar with the games.
I play a little bit of that. I do a lot of
I really should speedrun that, because I beat it on Grounded fairly easily, the one-hit kill sort of category. And I bet I can speedrun it in about 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, enough of the speedrunning.
Let's go back to the menu of Kanno.
It's a fantastic restaurant that we're sort of raving about.
I have some pictures, and I want to kind of just go through them again, because we were just there, and I just feel like, what do they say? A picture is worth 1,000 words, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to start presenting the pictures. You'll see these pictures. What was this one?
So that's a lobster special, and it's a bit messy, but you'll notice that there's lobster meat in there, and I believe that there's apple. They had some citrusy flavor around it.
They have avocado in there.
Avocados as well as apple, crisp, and there's a crunchy sort of nut.
Tell us about the wasabi.
There were several types of wasabi. There's usually what in America settles for wasabi is a sort of horseradish paste that's dyed light green, and the ginger is a sort of bright pink dyed ginger. But they have this clear white ginger, and there was certainly the regular kind of wasabi, but you could also order fresh wasabi, which is a plant. And it was ground up into dark green chunks.
Oh, okay.
And it was a bit more pricey, even just for a little cup of real wasabi, but it tastes completely different. It doesn't taste like horseradish. It clears out. It did a good job of clearing out the sinus.
I tell you, when I took a dab of that and I put it into my mouth, it like opened up my. I was like,
did you regret going?
No, I did not. I did not regret.
At any point, did you regret stepping into?
No, but I'll tell you, that stuff. If someone is really stuffed up, I'm not giving out medical advice on this show, but
just get some real wasabi.
Yeah, get some real wasabi. You know, it's like this, like you were saying, horseradish and some kind of a paste.
No. Well, the horseradish and paste is the fake.
That's the fake one, but the real one.
It's a plant. It's actually a plant that's ground up. There's a wasabi plant that grind up.
And that's what I noticed about it. It was kind of chunky, and I was like, that probably describes the chopping,
the cut up plant.
The cut up the plant. Yeah. And is there a paste in there, or is this the natural plant?
Fresh plant.
It's just the plant. Wow.
So what you were tasting was as if you were chewing it in the backyard, maybe, or something. But yeah, there wasn't anything added to it.
And what about this one? This is our other sushi that we had.
So is that the kush roll, which uses a lot of avocado, big, thick slices of avocado that sit over salmon, I believe?
It was so delicious. And I love the sauce underneath it. Can you describe that sauce?
Maybe it's a teriyaki kind of sauce, but it was a light brown, sweet flavor. It's usually more palatable for American tastes if you think of what teriyaki sauce base is.
I thought it was airy.
Airy.
Did you feel it was airy? Did you feel like I felt like it was like
This
it wasn't
was light.
thick.
It wasn't thick.
It wasn't
It
thick,
was
but it
very
was light.
light.
I felt it was.
And it was
airy.
very watery. So I think that there was some of it, but it was mixed in with some other citrusy juices and flavors. I don't think it was one thing. I think it was a mix.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, a fusion.
A fusion of the mouth. Yeah, it was like fusions of flavors. And so the next one here is this one. Do you remember?
Yeah, so that's the
salmon
Ryan roll.
The
and as
Ryan
you can
roll.
tell, if you zoom in here close enough, or if you have good enough eyesight, there's this kind of red pickled onion, perhaps with it has some sort of chili on top, but of the salmon.
And the rolls look like some of them were like the
It's
skin
very
of a avocado a little bit. Does that look like an avocado skin to you, or?
Well, no. Those aren't avocados at all. That's rice paper.
Rice paper. Okay.
And it's a little bit healthier than the
seaweed.
norami, the seaweed.
Oh, okay.
That might be used to wrap, but you can get this clear. I think it's rice paper.
I love this image here. Look how chunky that is.
That is a beautiful picture.
I love the
but
chunky.
what you also noticed at the last roll is that there were different types of, there was, I think it was albacore, yellowtail, salmon, smoked salmon, and tuna.
Yeah.
Were on that previous roll. In this one, there's another lobster roll zoomed in.
The lobster looks so good.
But yeah.
Here's the skin portion. Remember, we weren't sure what that meat on the top was. Remember how we were kind of like...
Yeah, it wasn't smoked salmon. There's
salmon
salmon next to it.
Yeah, salmon's next to it.
But yeah, that's... It'll probably say, if it has a description of the specials on there.
Let's check it out.
That's just the regular rolls on the website. But there you go. Click to view the complete menu. Nope. It was on the screen, in the middle of the screen, yeah. And... yeah, maybe it'll be later. But either way, there's a long description. One of the rolls might have, 12 items in it.
Yeah, and you call it the Ryan roll.
Ryan.
The Ryan roll.
Yep.
Okay.
And it would be at the very end for specials, or it'd be... There you go. We might be passing it. So there's the protein roll, Elvis roll. Nope, we're scrolling away from it. Go down. We're not looking at the pictures. So there's Kanno special. Let's see. Protein Elvis, energy roll. We had Yeah, we'll find it. I'm sure they have the special on their website.
We're gonna stick their menu on the link. I think we should have a link to
to their website.
Yeah, to the website, definitely. I feel like that would be really good because one of the things that I loved about the food was just how juicy it was. I'm going to give you the mouse there, sure. Dr. Frog.
Certainly, so I can learn how to use this this mouse. But what really sticks out is just the freshness of everything.
The freshness was so good. I just like that onion that had that meat sauce, kind of the red look to it, the pickling. It was just so juicy. Like everything was so juicy there. I think a lot of people think New Orleans, they think, red beans and rice, which we are red beans over here at the Red Beans, the New Orleans edition podcast. But there's also a lot of culture here. And that's one of the things that I was so impressed. I feel like this would be the kind of quality that you would get if you were in like Tokyo, Japan or something. Like that level. Because we haven't been...
Certainly. Yeah, when I was introduced to this place 11 years ago, and the person who introduced it to me said it was the best sushi that they've ever had in mainland USA. But it's comparable to sushi that you might get in Hawaii, some places in California, and Japan.
What do you think about this one?
Yeah, that's a beautiful, large, thick slices of salmon.
There you go.
That's the energy roll.
I love the energy roll.
And it looks like there's some roe on top as well.
I love the sauce. Like it's like a little river. It's like the sushi sits on a little river.
It's like a citrusy river. And it looks like there's some roe and maybe some light mayonnaise on top. A mayonnaise base.
And this is the entire...
They're all of the rolls.
I tell you, the sauce underneath. I can't stress how good the sauce was, and you can kind of see us just tearing into it a little bit. And as we go further into this story, this one was also really good too.
It really was an adventure.
I feel like it was like a flavorful adventure.
You know, we weren't sure the order that they were going to arrive in.
And we're just sitting there like, hey, let's.
We also spaced out our orders so that there wasn't too many dishes
all at once.
You don't want them sitting there for long periods of time.
Can you describe this one here as our next one?
Sure. So this is the roll that I questioned ordering. It wasn't the Ryan roll. It wasn't the energy roll.
Okay.
This was the I'm trying to remember the name. The Ricky roll. That's
a Ricky roll.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, you know, you see it has pickled onions on it. It also has jalapeno in it.
Yeah.
Along with the salmon.
It was so
good. Everything inside. But it is just packed full of flavors. And it's very... No, it's certainly not your street sushi or corner sushi store. So it's a little bit more pricey, but it comes out in the quality of the food. And the fact that they order some of their stuff internationally, I believe.
The other thing that gets me, too, about this place is it looked like a house. Mm-hmm. I felt like it was just a little house in the middle of an industrial park or something. Didn't it? It kind of threw me, like when I walked in there, I was like, whoa, wait a second, this doesn't seem like a very big building.
It's a very intimate setting. There's only a few tables.
Yeah.
So you can tell they're not trying to mass produce this experience. And you're right, it's a small, reddish, brownish house.
Would you recommend this as like a great thing for people that are like, hey, let's do a date night. The kids are away. I love sushi.
I would say this is wonderful for a date night with someone that you already like. I don't think this is a good first date night. It set expectations far too high. And then, but at the same time, this is.
But for sushi lovers,
a wonderful place.
This is like a mecca. Would you say that?
Oh, this is a place that I know that I would fly to New Orleans to eat here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super juicy.
This is on the list of things to do. And yes, and you can see there's the small bit of fresh wasabi on the top of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes strained jalapeno.
I love it. And then the sauce. I just can't get over the sauce. That's one of the things that I felt like we all had to do is like sometimes I would even take a sushi from one tray and kind of play with the sauce on another tray.
So you notice that there's some smear on this picture with the sauce.
Yeah.
When you weren't looking, I took my finger on my side and
you took a little dabber.
Yeah, it's kind of scooped up some of the sauce.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
All the destruction.
I feel like it's artwork in and of itself, not just the presentation of what we ate, but the destruction.
The eating of the food was the art, and then the thing was left
scared the workers there. They came up and said, "You're finished already."
I know. We were going crazy. The food was just too good.
The food's too good. You can't let it exist like this.
I just love the presentation, though. I think that's one thing we were talking about was the art of presenting food.
If to quote Chuck Palahniuk in Fight Club, if the police had arrested us for destroying all those sushi rolls, I just would have said, I just wanted to destroy something beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
Beautiful sushi, and now it's all happy within my stomach.
But unlike Fight Club, this is a place where we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to talk about it again, and then we're going to talk about it again.
We're crazy about it.
And we're crazy about it.
Maybe a little.
I know we were like both driving back, and we were listening to Seal. Isn't Seal great, man?
Yeah, seal is not an aquatic animal that stays up in the polar, but also is an R&B singer who I believe has English citizenship now.
Yeah.
I believe he's actually been living in England. But yeah, you went to a Seal concert recently.
I loved it. It was so
you
good.
love that. So how would that compare to, let's say, a nice dinner at Kanno's?
I have to say, I would do both of them if I could. And if I did both of those... If I could fly like an eagle.
I'd make you understand. Okay, so enough of the Seal impression. That's as much as we got.
But here's the one thing I would definitely tell you about Kanno's. Dude, was the Kobe beef good?
We just had 2 pieces, and so we had 1 piece each.
Yeah.
And was that enough to change your life completely?
Dude, I tell you.
Imagine if you had both pieces to yourself.
See, this is the thing. Where I come from, and the lower part of the swamp, we have this place that actually served Kobe beef burgers.
Kobe beef burgers?
Yes.
In the swamp.
I know. It was way down south. But here's the thing. It was so juicy. It was so... Best hamburger of my life.
It becomes a part of my bloodstream. That juice. Would just become...
Like you would have to travel with me to eat this burger, and then you'd be like, yes, this was indeed one of the best hamburgers I've eaten before.
Really?
It was so good. But what would you describe that sauce? Was it like a lemony? How would you describe it?
It's that citrusy... it was a lot lighter than the more teriyaki-based one, I think, for the other rolls, the Kush roll, for example, or the energy roll.
I love the energy roll.
But this one, the energy roll was the one on that side of that picture. But the Kobe beef ones, I just think it mixed perfectly with the juices. I was afraid about the beef being too juicy, or the flavor being disrupted. The flavor of the beef being disrupted by the light citrusy kind of.
I feel like the Kobe was cooked in a way where it was like it's not bloody, but it's not well done either. It's kind of like it's in that middle area.
It just melted in my mouth completely.
Yeah,
and I could feel my entire body appreciating it.
I enjoyed it. That's all I got to say.
Well, yeah, no, I'm glad you said best sushi. And where else can you have the best Kobe beef and the best sushi in the same meal?
Yeah, I know. That's like we're just going to show you some more images as we talk about it.
Their menu, too, it changes often. They had offerings like Alaskan crab, urchin, bluegill. They had a lot of things on their menu that, that you can't try anywhere else. Yeah,
the sushi, I swear, the salmon was so fresh. I mean, I know we keep talking about fresh, but I can't underestimate how fresh that salmon was. Mm. It was like the minute I put the salmon into a little bit of the soy sauce, it absorbed the flavor. It was like it was even more flavorful. It was like dancing on my tongue or something.
Yeah. Not to do another callback to Fight Club, but it's
there you go.
To do a twist spoiling at the end. By eating so much fish, I feel like I became a fish.
There you go.
I was slowly becoming one with all the different food that I was eating.
I thought you were going to talk about khaki pants for some reason, but
pants,
no. But yeah, it didn't happen.
No, there's no Planet Starbucks either. So this is a wonderful, and you can tell that the 80 plus years of experience of the family that runs it, really shined.
And I think the last part of the meal was a dessert.
They're homemade. It'd be a shame to call it ice cream because it's a chocolate based. They won't tell you how they make it. It's the one thing that they'll not want to share their secret recipe.
Yeah, it was like a cube of ice cream, but it wasn't ice cream.
Complimentary cube tower.
I'm just like, it was so smooth. It was like...
it really melted in your mouth, and it gave that burst of flavor that was all that was needed for a dessert and just perfectly topped off.
And if someone was like, oh man, everything's so spicy here, hey, you got this little ice cube coming your way, and that burning is going to disappear.
Well, the burning would, yeah. If you had any leftover fresh wasabi burning,
and you're like burning up, you're like, take the little cube, you're good to go.
It's perfect for this hot summer in New Orleans. And it sounds crazy to people who've never experienced it, because how can you go to someone and say, I've had the best meal of my life? You should have tried these very small cubes of homemade ice cream.
Someone eats the cube, they're like, man, what am I doing for the rest of my life?
Yeah, you have that first one, and then you realize you have 3 others. And it's amazing. It's complimentary with the meal.
And they give you like a little stick,
toothpick.
A little toothpick to poke on them, and then you just feed them to yourself. And we were using chopsticks.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
the whole time.
The assumption's chopsticks when you get in there. I know you can request forks if you've needed it. I was lucky that I've used chopsticks since I was 2 or 3. So
there's only a few times I felt like I needed to scoop anything, but other than that,
and there are ways around it if you use the plate or something. Or
or I would just took it and I kind of like put the sticks together, the chopsticks, and then I kind of like scooted on top of it.
Oh, sure.
That's if it was like really chunky pieces.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to pick up very small grains of rice with chopsticks just out of boredom while watching shows and stuff.
That's going to be good for hand-eye coordination.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, but before we go to Japan, I'm sure we can practice and train.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll get good at it.
I've been wanting to learn how to like pick up small objects with my hands.
I actually caught a fly with chopsticks before.
Wow.
in the air. Yeah. It was when I was little. No one believes me, but I did it once, and I was like, just like the movie.
I believe Dr. Frog
It was amazing.
did grab that fly.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I was so proud of myself because it's...
And then this is the aftermath. You know, the one thing I would also say that I really liked, the hand wipes.
Heavy hand wipes.
You know how
it was like holding your own towel.
I know. It was like I was wiping my hands with it, and I felt like it was great.
I wanted to take a bath in there. I was rubbing my face and eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
They really take care of you. And they checked on our table several times as well.
Yeah, the lady was doing a
service.
great job.
I gave it an excellent service beyond the 3 tips suggested at the bottom. So
and we just have
they really earned it.
We have a picture outside of the facility, so we have some pictures up. We'll put on there. It was just a small building. It's kind of like a little house, and
very unassuming. If you would drive by that, and you wouldn't be surprised if it was residential. Yeah,
it was so weird. I remember being like, "Wow, is this the place?" And we actually drove around the building. That was interesting.
And what I love is I can talk up the place. It's one of the few places that I can talk up and not be worried. Sometimes if you build up expectations, you'll say, well, this isn't that great. But this is one of those places you can say it's excellent. And you go in there, and the other person's just like, yes, this is excellent.
I know. It's so... I have to say, this is definitely a place that's a cool place when you want to, celebrate.
Celebrate, yeah. So,
a birthday.
You should go there for birthdays, definitely...
An anniversary.
Yeah, it would be dangerous to go there often.
Yeah.
It's the kind of place I could, I'd want to move in next door, change my whole life around to eat there. Yeah.
And I think as we were leaving, I kind of want to put this image up there too.
Sure.
It's a picture of the moon.
The moon.
And I often think, and we'll kind of wrap it up in this way, think of it this way. If we didn't have Saturn, which is basically a giant vacuum cleaner in outer space, and we didn't have the moon protecting us, we wouldn't be here in many ways. Because without these things, we wouldn't exist. And one of the things I like to...
I'll be honest with Kanno's. Without that sushi and Kobe beef, I wouldn't be there.
That's right. So we have multiple reasons of being there. But here's the part that's so cool about the picture of the moon. You see all those craters on the surface of the moon? Yeah. Those are all the meteorites that hit the moon and don't hit the Earth.
Oh, so you think of it as it protecting all the...
I feel like the moon is a giant catcher's mitt. It's a catcher's mitt. And it's catching these meteorites, things that would destroy us, or the moon comes closer and our tides rise. If we didn't have these tides, we wouldn't have the fish that we just enjoyed.
So you say we're just riding on the coattails of the moon, huh?
Hey, it's one of our best friends, and it's not made of cheese. But
it's not made of cheese.
It is not made of cheese. Isn't that hilarious that people, when they looked at the moon, they were like, those craters remind them of Swiss cheese or something?
Yeah, I mean, my gastroenterologist isn't going to complain that, I'm not going to be eating moon cheese.
That's right. It might be radioactive.
Maybe radioactive, yeah. That'd be a new dish that we'd be raving about.
Hey, Kanno's has radioactive cheese. No, they do not have radioactive cheese.
They only have the best sushi and fish and quality that you'll ever experience in the United States.
So what I want to do is I feel like I'm giving this place a thumbs up. Definitely worth checking out. If your child is graduating college or high school, or you're on a date that you've been with someone for quite a few years, or you're doing an anniversary or a wedding or a wake. Maybe not a wake. I wouldn't want to.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about splitting the bill.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's a one-way process. But I think
the food is to die for, but not to
die. Not literally die, but yeah.
It isn't for the dead.
It's for the living. They should enjoy it while we still can. What about you, Dr. Frog?
Yes.
What do you say about Kanno's? What would you give? Would you give it a thumbs up?
I give it several thumbs up. I would give it my family's thumbs. Any thumbs I can get a hold of.
There you go.
I'd hold them up for it. And, first treat's always on me for the first time visiting, but, I think it's a place that if you're in town or thinking of going, you should definitely go there. And, they're doing something right with focusing on quality. If I could design a business that's a sushi place, I couldn't dream up a better business model than what they're doing.
Yeah, it's the quality, the friendly staff. I felt
so friendly,
and the hand wipes. it's definitely a place to check out. And I think we both...
My favorite place.
His favorite place. And it's going to be my favorite place when it comes to sushi. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. And you just ate it one time.
I ate it one time. I feel like I want to go back there again.
It's enough to... And we're... Luckily, we both live near there, so...
That's right. We got to explore some more. This is going to give us... And we have more restaurants to check out.
But you know what? For science, we might have to retest. See if it's just as good the next week.
Hey, we have to check for reliability.
For science.
Reliability. Yeah. We're here to make sure things are reliable.
As many times as possible.
And we have to make sure they're accurate. Definitely reliable is more important than accuracy, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But overall, we're both giving it a thumbs up. This will wrap up our episode on...
Sushi.
On sushi.
On the Red Beans New Orleans edition. We'll be looking at different restaurants throughout the city, throughout the year, and giving you our honest opinions and take on them. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, and hopefully you like and subscribe. Share this with some of your friends. And if anything, just remember, the moon is not made of Swiss cheese. Over and out.